Okay, finally we are ready to actually start our sweater. We have picked out our pattern and gone over the general idea of what we're doing. Did a little intro on how to read a pattern. We got our supplies put together and we knit our gauge swatch. So we are finally ready to cast on, and here we go. We will refer to our pattern for how many to cast on. I am going to be making the smallest size. So for me, I'm going to be casting on 56. If you are knitting any other size than that, you will need to refer to your pattern for how many you're going to knit on. It could be anywhere from 62 to 96. So I have my smaller needles here and the smaller cable. We'll be doing the long tail cast on, that's what this is called. And how to make sure I'm going to have enough yarn when I start for my cast off is I'm going to wrap my yarn around as many times as I'm going to have stitches, so 56. I like to do half that many, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. So 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 28. Okay, that if you want to keep going and do all of the stitches that you're going to need, keep going. I like to do half and then measure out, just kind of fold it in half, measure it out. What we're trying to do is make our slip stitch here at the point at which we have had enough wraps of yarn to go for all of the stitches we're going to do. Wow, words difficult today. Okay, so this is where that point is. I did 28 stitches and then got double that amount, so we'd have 56. Little refresher on slip stitch. Here's my ball of working yarn over here. I'm going to go over, under, put my yarn through underneath, through there, pull all the way through. I have 2 strands up here now. I'm going to take the left strand, pull a loop through under the right strand, pick that loop up, and here I have a slip stitch. I'll show you again. Around the front, around the back, underneath. Take my working yarn, put it underneath that right strand, pull it through. This is going to be the first stitch. If you need a refresher completely on casting on, you can go back to the hat class or the scarf class. I have a more in-depth video on how to cast on. So I'll be casting on 56. think that's 56, so I'm going to count. Ever heard the phrase measure twice, cut once? I'm going to count at least twice. $54, $56. All right, and I counted when I actually made them. All right, so we will join in the round. One thing I like to do is make sure, see this little ridge that was created on the bottom of the stitches? I like to make sure I follow it all the way around, making sure it's on the inside. That's how I make sure I haven't twisted any of the stitches. If you do twist this line of stitches, you will get a couple of rows in, feel very sad, and have to start over. There's really no fixing it other than ripping it out and starting over. It's going to end up making a twisted piece of fabric that will not become a sweater and ever. All right, so I have kind of brought the stitches around so that I can make it into a circle. I'm going to place a stitch marker. To note the beginning of the round. And I'm going to start 1 by 1 ribbing, which just means knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 all the way around. Because I have such a small number of stitches, it's going to be a little fiddly here for a round or two, moving those stitches around because it is a little bit tight. All right, so I'm going to knit 1, purl 1 all the way around. And then I'm going to continue that ribbing we're going to go back to the pattern. For my size, it's 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. If you're knitting a larger size, it may go all the way up to 1.5 inches. So look at your pattern, see what that means for you, and meet me back here for the next part.